Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have the new adventures of Winnie the Pooh, not old Christine. New adventures of Winnie the Pooh. This is honestly the third, from what I counted, the third Winnie the Pooh entry in 2 weeks. If you go look back at the last few episodes, yeah, we've had a lot of Winnie the Pooh over the last few weeks. It's I think I could take a break now and move on to something else. Not that there's anything wrong with Winnie the Pooh and the gang of the 100 Acre Wood, but it's just like more variety. Let's just say that. But the old gang is back. This is a 1980s era series. 4 seasons, by the way. It went from 1988 to 1991. The episodes are about 23 minutes long each. The very first episode is actually a full one single story, and most of the others are two stories per episode, separated out pretty clearly down the middle. So they're about 11 and a half minutes or so each. The first season is the longest. It's something like 26 episodes or something like that, I think. I'm not going to check, but it's a lot. It's more than 20. And then it drops down to like 10, and then like 8, and then 6. So I'm not sure. They just sort of had a bunch left over, and they just started spurting them out in tiny clusters over the next few seasons. So yeah, there's a total of about 50 episodes for this series. And it has the same old voices you'll recognize. Jim Cummings is Winnie the Pooh. John Fiedler is Piglet. Paul Winchell is Tigger, of course. And then all the other regular ones. Peter Cullen, Optimus Prime, once again, as Eeyore. Seriously, I cannot hear anything but Optimus Prime whenever I hear Eeyore talk. Yeah, the episodes, they are a little bit different. It still has the old kind of painted background and feel to it, but it has a bit more modern, somewhat more modern sensibility to it. It's not taking place back in the olden days, in a sense. Christopher Robin is American. He has an American accent. And this is the first time, and maybe I'm wrong in this, but the first time for me anyway, that I've noticed the Pooh characters in Christopher Robin's world. Like, his mom shows up and tells him to eat his dinner, eat his carrots, and Pooh and Tigger and Piglet are all sort of hanging out with him in the kitchen, helping him get over his fear of carrots. And then he takes him to the movies. He wants to go, if he finishes his vegetables, he's allowed to go see that monster movie that he wants to see, Birdzilla. So, and he takes Pooh, Tigger, and Piglet with him. And of course, Piglet is just scared to death of the monsters that are on the screen. There's like a big lizard-looking thing. Didn't look like a bird at all. Then there's a spider-looking thing, also not a bird, but it's Birdzilla. And yeah, Piglet's just hiding in the buttered popcorn, and then Tigger sings a song about how monsters in the movies aren't real. It's all just on film, and they all start singing and then swinging around by something in the ceiling, and they end up in the projection room, and the usher is chasing them down, and it's a guy, Peter Cullen, doing the voice of the usher, because he also sounds like John Wayne too. Whenever he doesn't sound exactly like Optimus Prime, he sounds a little bit like John Wayne. And that was a bad John Wayne impression, but you get the idea. The usher sounded like John Wayne to me. So, in any sense, that was a full half hour, and because of that, because they taught Piglet not to be afraid of the monsters in the movies, it's a good little lesson to teach the kids who might be a little bit scared of going to the movies when they see things that are bigger than life and they think they're real. Yeah, it shows them that, there's nothing to be scared of because it's not real. It's a good little lesson. And then because of that, though, Christopher Robin decides to make a movie himself, a monster movie. And he has an old crank film camera, so it's not that modern. It's not like he got a VHS camcorder out or anything in the 80s there. But he he gets Pooh to be the hero because he was wearing a hero scarf, and Piglet is the person in danger. They get Tigger to dress up as a monster, and I somehow I missed this. My brain's not registering it very well, but he dresses up as a carrot. He gets a carrot costume somehow, and he terrorizes Rabbit, who's picking the carrots out of his garden, and he starts, hey, how you doing? Hey, Rabbit, it's me. And Rabbit just sees this giant carrot looking for revenge, and it causes everybody to freak out and be afraid of this giant carrot, and they try to trap it, and of course they realize that it's Tigger eventually, but not before everybody's lives are upturned by this monster carrot. So yeah, it sounds like a Roger Corman kind of thing. Not Roger. Yeah, yeah, or the guy who does Toxic Avenger kind of stuff. It seems like those guys, that kind of stuff. Anyway, that was like a full 23-minute episode, and then the second episode is 2 short stories. One about oh, by the way, some of these titles are very punny. Like the first one that I just talked about, is Pooh Ought to Be in Pictures. Then, I mean, I looked at the titles for later episodes, The Good, the Bad, and the Tigger, stuff like that. They're all very cinematic. Not all of them, but some of them are. They're a little bit punny. But so the second episode, I watched only 2 episodes. The one with the full half hour, and then the 2 half stories, or 2 stories in 1 episode. In this, the first one, Rabbit is had enough of Pooh's greediness and always taking all the honey that he just wants to move away. And Pooh is trying to convince him that he doesn't want to move. He doesn't want Rabbit to move. But everything he seems to do just ends up looking like he's taking more and more honey for himself. And Rabbit's trying to avoid him. And it just makes it all the more worse, even though Pooh is trying to do the right thing in making things up to Rabbit for being greedy. Because he is really greedy about honey. But that's who he is. I guess that's okay. Then the second one is, it was about Eeyore. It was an Eeyore starring one. And they just see Eeyore standing up on a hillside looking up at the clouds, and they think he's sad. And so Piglet decides that, hey, you know what, let's all try to make Eeyore happy. And they all had a different idea of what would make Eeyore happy. And this is one of the more, I don't know, psychological, therapeutic type episodes that sort of teach you the lesson that not everything that makes you happy makes other people happy. Everybody has their own definition of what makes them happy, or you don't need to look like you're being happy all the time. You can just be who you are, the way you are, without having to be a certain way. Like the Roo and Tigger think let's teach him to bounce. Rabbit decides, let's teach him gardening. Owl says, wants to make him fly. Pooh force feeds him honey. He doesn't like honey. And Piglet has no idea what he can do because he always feels helpless and worthless himself. And he eventually just goes up and apologizes to Eeyore for not being the one person who can't make him happy. And Eeyore teaches him a little bit of a lesson, and it's that one. That one's kind of satisfying to see how they worked that story together, especially since it's for kids. It's a neat little lesson to learn. It's not eat all your vegetables. It's not say please and thank you. It's something a little bit more ephemeral. It's not as easy to define, but it's a good lesson to learn. So yeah, it's a fun little series. This definitely has a different feel to it than a lot of the other ones, and a different pace, and it's a little bit more, I guess, exciting, and also seems like it doesn't exist just in the 100-acre wood. It moves into Christopher Robin's world, and maybe that's common for you Pooh veterans, but I have not seen it in the last few episodes. It's always taken place in the 100-acre woods. I don't know. But yeah, if you like Winnie the Pooh, you're going to want to make sure that gets on your list. It's The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, just in case you're wondering. That's what the cover looks like when you get to the page. So we're going to pick tomorrow's Disney Plus Everyday Challenge episode. We got 693. That's way up there. What do we got? but not too far from what we just had. 693. Oh. Well, I'm going to have to tell you, I've already watched this without being told to by my little project here. But I'm going to rewatch a few of my favorite episodes and get back to you and talk about the series as overall, because I've seen all the episodes. It's one of the things that are exclusive to Disney Plus. It premiered with Disney Plus back in November, and it is The World According to Jeff Goldblum. Yep, The World According to Jeff Goldblum. If you haven't watched it yet on Disney Plus, well, I'm going to tell you whether you're going to like it or not, and which ones you should watch, whether you think you like it or would like it or not anyway. But Jeff Goldblum is Jeff Goldblum. So, yeah, we'll meet back here tomorrow with The World According to Jeff Goldblum on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. See you then. Bye.